Right now at noon, an act of heroism saves the life of a man slumped behind the wheel of a rolling vehicle.
And it's hot, it's muggy, pop-up storms still on the way, more storms overnight, the latest coming up.
Plus, some drivers in Carl Junction get ready for a speed limit change just ahead of the school season.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities have charged an Oklahoma man accused of scamming an elderly Lamar, Missouri resident out of tens of thousands of dollars. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. Now, the suspect is this man, Ravi Amangati of Edmond, Oklahoma. Barton County, Missouri investigators believe he scammed the victim by claiming to be an employee of the Federal Trade Commission. Court documents say Amangati told the victim their bank account had been compromised, and if the victim did not provide him with all of their money, it would be lost or stolen. Authorities say the victim provided Amangati with 4 money transfers starting just last month. One was for $25,000 via a Bitcoin machine in Joplin. Then 3 times the victim was instructed to give various amounts of money to a man who would show up in a car at the victim's home. Those 4 transactions totaled more than $150,000. Authorities say they arrested Amangati last week as he was leaving the victim's home with $85,000. He is now charged with 4 counts of financial exploitation of the elderly. Well, a Tulsa judge sentences a Grove, Oklahoma man for possession of child pornography. In February 2023, 24-year-old Dakota Clark, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, began communicating with a 14-year-old on social media. Investigation revealed Clark coerced the minor to produce sexually explicit photos. Clark also possessed hundreds of sexual images of minors. Clark will receive 20 years in prison, followed by 15 years unsupervised release. Upon release, Clark will be required to register as a sex offender. And the Newton County Sheriff's Office awards its Deputy of the Second Quarter in part for a potentially life-saving roadside rescue. Body cam footage shows Sergeant Nick Boo notice a vehicle traveling slower than the others, which created a traffic problem. Boo notified dispatch after determining the driver was slumped over the wheel. He then moved to use emergency equipment to set up a traffic stop, then ran from his car to the still rolling vehicle. Boo managed to stop the vehicle where he discovered the non-responsive driver. He then removed the driver, placed him on the ground, and began CPR. First responders say the driver was able to talk when taken to an area hospital. The driver was diagnosed as having a heart attack and reached out later to thank Sergeant Boo. Authorities say Sergeant Boo's observations of the traffic on the roadway and his immediate actions not only saved the life of the driver of the vehicle, but likely prevented a serious motor vehicle accident. The Newton County Sheriff's Office says it's proud to recognize Sergeant Nick Boo for his action and for his dedication to serving the citizens of Newton County and name him Deputy of the Second Quarter. The Neosho City Council last night paid tribute to former police chief Jason Baird with the proclamation. The mayor, Richard Davidson, issued the proclamation. In it, he gave his sympathies to the police department and Baird's family, as well as honored a public servant who served his community for more than 30 years as a law enforcement officer. The interim police chief also acknowledged the contribution Baird had on the Neosho community.
I think it was great that the city, took time to recognize Chief Baird. He did work for the city for 28 years, basically devoted his life to the police department, eventually was able to be the chief for his last 5 years.
A memorial service was held for Baird last week. Let's head over now to Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, it is hot. It is muggy out there. Here's a look from downtown Pittsburgh. We've got some clouds building. We'll get some of those pop-up storms in there. Plenty of traffic on the noon lunch rush here in Joplin, 20th and Rangeline. MoDOT camera there. Taking a look at where we were yesterday. Started a couple of degrees above normal. Made it right where we should be, but our temperature is climbing today. There's another look at those clouds. 89 in Joplin. Feels like 98. Got those gusty winds. In Pittsburgh, heating up as well. Right now sitting at 90. Feels like 100. 100 out there, and temperatures across the region upper 80s and some low 90s, putting those heat index values already into the triple digits for many of us. Look at Bonita and Nowata already at 105 degrees this afternoon, which is why you've got to take precautions outside, stay hydrated, take breaks, cool off when you can. Still into the upper 80s by 7, isolated storms initially, gradually becoming scattered later this evening and overnight as well. And look at that, still 80 at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk more about our storm chances and this unpleasant heat that's hanging on in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, at the area wheat harvest well underway, you may already encounter heavy farm implements like tractors and combines going in and out of roadways. The Kansas Highway Patrol is reminding motorists that these vehicles are larger than the lane of traffic and aren't designed to travel at normal highway speeds. They say you should take caution when sharing the roadways, especially on busy rural roads and on unmarked intersections. And some drivers going through Carl Junction should be aware of a speed limit change. Beginning Monday, Route Z on Imperial Road and Walnut Street in front of the high school, that speed limit will be reduced from 45 to 40. And once school begins, the school zone will be reduced from 35 to 30. The change comes following a resident-requested speed study conducted by MoDOT, which found the speed limit to be higher than it needed to be. And drivers on I-44 may need to seek an alternative route beginning next Monday night. Expect work crews along I-44 in Newton, Jasper, Lawrence, and Greene counties, starting from the Main Street exit in Joplin and working their way towards Missouri Route 125 in Strafford. Crews will be collecting core samples for the Forward 44 project. Lane closures will take place nightly from 8 p.m. until 6 each morning, beginning next Monday and running through late September. Well, Dr. Amy Daly with the National Children's Miracle Network visited Joplin yesterday. KOAM's Ty Parks has more on how local partnerships are key in the network's mission.
Children's Miracle Network President Amy Daly visited Freeman Health System Tuesday, starting with a stop at the NICU.
Started out in Arkansas. I'm making my way up through the state of Missouri over the next few days.
During the tour, Dr. Daly saw many of the items that Children's Miracle Network helped fund, as well as local champions.
We met with Layla, who's one of your local champions, and her dog Nico, who helps her with her diabetes. A really great alert dog that was part of the Miracle Dog program that Freeman Health has, and so that's how she received that dog.
He says that what Children's Miracle Network does sometimes stops her in her tracks.
Right, it kind of just takes your breath away because the work that we do, it's both it can be heartbreaking at times, right, the work that we do, but it's also very heartwarming. And so that was one of my moments for me where I walked in here and I thought, like, what an incredible testament to this community.
But she also says that it's the partnerships that get the job done.
I see both sides of the coin because the hospitals are the ones that are doing the work. They're providing the care. But the corporate partners in our programs are where the money's being raised. And so this trip is such an absolute combination of both of those things that I get to walk from seeing the care in action to seeing the money raised that's helping that happen, and see the frontline employees who are out there doing it, whether it's providing the care or providing the encouragement for the community to raise money. And it just makes me really proud.
Reporting in Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Dr. Daly's visit comes after the local CMN chapter won the National In-Flight Challenge, where local hospitals track partner stewardship, fundraising, and relationship building. Well, coming up, President Trump meets with leaders in the Middle East, hoping to strengthen alliances in the region. And later, we're making tuna twist in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, today, President Trump meets with Middle East allies, with Bahrain expected to announce it will invest $17 billion in the U.S., which includes buying Boeing airplanes. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Trump welcomes the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain to the White House this morning as the administration seeks to strengthen ties with key allies in the Middle East. But the president's domestic agenda is once again dominating focus on Capitol Hill this week. Lawmakers face a Friday deadline to pass the administration's request to make some of the DOGE cuts permanent and slash around $9 billion in previously approved spending. Most of those cuts would hit foreign aid programs, but more than $1 billion would impact public broadcasters. The president and CEO of NPR told CBS News she worries rural communities that rely on their local radio stations could be hurt the most.
Stations that serve communities that do not have access to other forms of local news, emergency reporting, emergency alerting in particular, and that functionally that is the primary consideration of any lawmaker.
The vice president votes in the affirmative.
Vice President J.D. Vance delivered the tie-breaking vote to advance the package late last night after 3 Republicans joined with Democrats to oppose it.
Not only is this bill harmful to communities in Michigan as well as all across the country, but it also risks undermining a key part of our democratic process.
But the White House and Republican leaders say it's about getting spending under control.
Clearly, this is something that all of us believe is a priority when you've got a $36 trillion debt.
In a last-minute deal reached Tuesday, Republicans agreed to preserve funding for the global AIDS program known as PEPFAR in the bill. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
What happens if we team our pasta salad with tuna salad? We end up with a dish that is summertime perfect and very budget friendly.
And we're tracking thunderstorm chances across the region as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. We'll have a look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon on what is already a hot and downright miserable day across the area. We've got some clouds, and we'll eventually still get some isolated pop-up storms out there. And then later tonight, we have the opportunity for some potentially strong storms, primarily into our northern counties. So we have the isolated wind risk that you can see still in place in our far northern counties. There's a greater severe threat, or at least a larger area of severe threat off to our north, and part of that complex might try and clip our northern counties overnight tonight. Between here and there, we do have some pop-up storms outside of our area now, back toward the Branson area south of Springfield. We'll still have the opportunity for some isolated pop-up storms through the evening, but again, most of us will be dry. Once we hit about 9-10 o'clock, here come some of these thunderstorms, and again, some of them could be strong to low-grade severe initially in our far northern counties. Most of us are dry initially. Then as we head toward tomorrow morning, we'll start to see additional scattered showers and thunderstorms out there, and they'll still be scattered, so it's not rain everywhere all at once, but we will still see the potential for thunderstorms to continue to develop. And some updates since this morning. Earlier this morning, Future Track was kind of hinting that the storms by the afternoon and evening will become a lot more isolated. Some new data has come in, and we're looking at maybe a few additional storms through tomorrow evening as well. Now, at this time, the only severe risk area we have highlighted is that level 1 out of 5 that we just showed you in our northern counties. We do not have any severe risk areas highlighted for tomorrow with the afternoon or evening storms or into Friday. If that changes, we'll let you know, but we do have those thunderstorms, though. They kind of die out by late evening. Then overnight, this is one thing that is still consistent, is we're looking at additional redevelopment into the very early morning hours on our Friday. Still at this time, not expecting anything severe, but through the first portion of our Friday, a few scattered storms. As we roll into the afternoon hours, we clear out, and we're going to continue to heat up. In fact, tomorrow temperatures actually at average, but the heat index values are still going to be pretty unpleasant. For the rest of today, though, we're already seeing some of those heat index values to 105. Most of us will likely reach at least that point. But as we talked about this morning, some of our western counties where it gets a little hotter, very likely could exceed 105 for those heat index values, at least by a few degrees. So you want to make sure you're staying hydrated, taking precautions, taking breaks, staying in where you can. Low mid-90s for our highs. Southwest winds, again, they're already gusting, but will continue to gust upwards of 25. Scattered storms overnight, back in the low to mid-70s, so above normal there. I will have that south breeze again at around 5 to 10 miles an hour, and then scattered storms throughout the day tomorrow. The problem is there's a cold front causing the storms. It pushes in, and then it retreats back north. Then it becomes a warm front. And at that point, it's bringing in more moisture, more muggy conditions. So, yeah, our high tomorrow is average at 90. But with all the humidity and those higher dew point levels tomorrow, heat index values could still reach close to 100 degrees. So you still want to be cautious with the heat tomorrow as well, even though it may be raining. As we get beyond that, again, storms continue into the first half of our Friday. Friday afternoon, they clear out. We start climbing low to mid-90s through the weekend, hot, sunny, few pop-up storms maybe Monday, Tuesday, and then toward the end of next week, data still suggests at least the possibility we could start getting close to highs in the triple digits. So we want to make sure we're prepared for the heat and that you're staying hydrated and staying safe out there.
Well, if there's any question that we were in summer this week, for sure.
Certainly, indeed.
All right, Chris, thanks. We'll stick around. We're making tuna twist in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, today's Mr. Food recipe is the perfect match. It pairs up pasta salad with the tuna salad to come up with this dish that's summertime perfect and very budget friendly. Howard is making tuna twist in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
During the summer, with all that's going on, it seems we're always looking for recipes that are light, quick to throw together, and if they're budget friendly, all the better. So with that said, let me share with you an amped up pasta salad that is main dish worthy. We start by cooking some pasta twists like normal. Once they're tender, we drain them and rinse them well. And if you don't have pasta twists, almost any pasta will work. While that finishes draining, we mix together some mayo, a good amount of apple cider vinegar, and a bit of black pepper. Next, we add the pasta to this, along with a large can of tuna that we've drained and flaked, a package of frozen peas that we've thawed, some chopped celery, red onion, and a little bit of dill. The nice thing about this is there are no rules. Want to use rice wine or red wine vinegar? Fine. Have other veggies on hand? Feel free to add them to the mix. Once it chills, it's ready to serve as a light summer dinner, or bring it to a potluck and watch it be the first thing to disappear. The recipe for what we call tuna twist is online and ready to add to your summertime lineup. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a twisted, easy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
We can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. All you have to do is head on over to our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, hot, muggy today. Pop-up storms, scattered storms overnight, and will also be hot and muggy tomorrow. Thunderstorms throughout the day. The rain, though, not cooling things off. And we'll have additional scattered storms first half of our Friday, heating up through the week, mid to upper 90s.
All right, Chris, thanks. Dowd here for us later on.
Lots coming up at 5. For starters, it might seem like a cheap fix, but going abroad for weight loss surgery, yeah, it could cost you more than you bargained for. Why doctors are sounding the alarm. Plus, a new Missouri law targets invasive plants. We're going to show you which species are now banned and the local effort to remove them. And the Newton County assessor is pushing back against a state order to raise property values. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today. KOAM News at 5.
All right, Dowd, thanks. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.